Are Christians supposed to be successful? I've been having this conversation with a couple people lately, and there are a lot of opinions. Some think that Christians should have good health and fill bank accounts and nice things, while some other people feel that Christians should have an overall easier life than other people do. Some other people think that when things happen to Christians, when tragedy, bad things happen, it's just a temporary setback in an otherwise blissful existence. So who's right? Well, I pretty much think that all the people who hold these opinions are dead wrong, but I do think Christians should be successful. And I know it might be confusing, but let's talk about it. I'm Pastor Corey J, and this is Earthly Good Conversations, where we talk weekly about practical ways to find and follow God. These conversations are part of an online space called Open Grove, which is a space for questions, answers, prayers, and conversations with the purpose of getting you rooted in the reality of God and growing in the purpose of His kingdom. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube and turn on notifications for our latest content. Also, make sure to connect with us on Instagram at opengroveonline to see more content on how to follow God in your daily life. All right, so back to success. The great dilemma of success in the Christian community is that it doesn't get the attention it deserves. It's either undersold, like success doesn't matter at all, or we talk about it to the point of overkill. And worse still, we often define success in ways that don't align with the Word of God. The result is that for many, the day comes where the pressure builds to succeed. But the unspoken dilemma in the Christian culture about pursuing success is that on one side, we're taught to go to school and get educations and pursue lucrative careers, but we're then told that success in life isn't about how much money we earn or how well we work. It's confusing. On the other hand, there are tons of churches that say that God intends for us to have our best life now and that being rich is part of God's plan, that success is the result of being obedient to God. Now, I think there's a deep tension today on how to glorify God with success, so let's take a look at a quick passage from Proverbs 16 to help us understand what success is. Here's what it says. We can make our own plans, but the Lord gives the right answer. People may be pure in their own eyes, but the Lord examines their motives. Commit your actions to the Lord, and your plans will succeed. The Lord has made everything for His own purposes, even the wicked for the day of disaster. The Lord detests the proud. They will surely be punished. Unfailing love and faithfulness make atonement for sin. By fearing the Lord, people avoid evil. Then people's lives will please the Lord. Even their enemies are at peace with them. Better to have little with godliness than to be rich and dishonest. We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. I believe we should have goals and ambitions, that we should want to be successful, but we have to keep success in perspective. What is success? How do we achieve it? How does God get glory from our success? Well, Proverbs 16 is from a book of wisdom in the Bible, and it specifically is talking about kings and righteousness, or it speaks to powerful men about what it means to place devotion to God as a priority over the things they accomplish and how they accomplish them. I think that this passage gives us 3 keys that point us in the right direction for success. And here's what they are. Number 1, only the plans that are committed to the Lord will last. The first 4 verses of Proverbs 16 lay out heavy contrast between us and God when it comes to our plans. We plan, but God determines the outcome. Our ideas, our ways of approaching life seem to be right to us, but God is the one who determines whether or not we are righteous in what we do. And the Lord made everything and gave it purpose. This tells us that no matter our plans, our approaches, or our actions, God determines the outcome of what we do. In no place is this more clearly illustrated than in verse 3, where it says, commit your actions to the Lord and your plans will succeed. Do you want your plans to start to take form? The best advice that you can commit is to commit your plans to the Lord and His glory. You can build something otherwise, maybe not. But if you want to see real security in your planning, then you should submit your planning to God. And if you think that's nonsense, you're better off on your own, or that you could do it better than God, well, then that brings us to point number 2. Arrogance will lead to trouble. We were already warned in verse 2 that our ways seem right to us. So it's fitting that in verses 4 and 5, we are warned the cost of our arrogance. In verse 4, we are instructed to commit our plans to the Lord, and verse 5 serves as both contrast and a warning to the reader. The alternative to entrusting our plans to God is to trust completely on ourselves, which is an arrogant heart posture that verse 5 tells us that the Lord hates, and it's a posture that leads to punishment or destruction. So you might be asking yourself, well, how do I succeed waiting on God to show me how to move forward? And to that, I would say 2 things. First, God will speak if you seek him and give him space to guide you. It's not a mystical or far off thing. He's real and he cares about you and his plans for your good. And as for the success, I would actually say that leads us to our final truth. Success is measured by righteousness, not by accomplishment. Verse 8 could not make it more plain. It is better to have righteousness with little else than it is to have living lavish through sinfulness. It is God's righteous standard that is better than riches and power. So what is it worth to gain riches and power while losing walking rightly with God? Because if you lose righteousness, anything that you succeed at will not be worthwhile. The Bible calls this seeking God and his kingdom above anything else. When you look at your life, are you treating closeness with God as the prize? Or have you been compromising bit by bit to gain things, position, and power? In the daily grind to get better, we can be tempted to trade in God for riches, but it's not worth gaining the whole world to lose your soul. So will you choose today God, or will you choose the supposed riches of success by doing evil things? If you have questions, comments, or concerns about this, drop them in the comments or DM us on our social media channels. You can also contact us at opengroveonline@gmail.com. We want to hear from you, and we want to be here to support you if you want to make a decision to follow Christ. But for now, remember this: success always seems a step beyond us, but a relationship with God is always within reach. And until we spend forever with him, let's not be so heavenly minded that we are of no earthly good. Thanks. Grace and peace.